Hey people, this is Jake. If you're another Percy Jackson YouTube video, I want to point out before we get into this, no, I'm not trying to make a fashion statement by wearing a beanie in the middle of summer. I just have bad head and I didn't feel like fixing it. Will the real Jake Turner please stand up? But anyway, what are we going to talk about this video? Reyna. Rah-rah. The girl that goes from America to the Athens through a horde of monsters in like 2 days with nothing but a Pegasus, where he got 7 powerhouse demigods, took like a week to do it, in a full-blown warship. That Reyna. She's pretty awesome. Unfortunately, we're not going to be talking about all the incredible things she did. We're going to talk about her relationship status, or lack thereof, or the many possibilities that it offers. Not because I care that much about it, I just, as an observer, I just find it amusing and interesting, because there's a bunch of stuff to talk about. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so first off, we know Reyna is single, but she has shown attraction for 2 demigods in particular. 1, Jason Grace. 2, Perseus Jackson. Now, they both turned her down, which I'm kind of glad they did, because I'm a Jasper shipper and a Percybeth shipper. But from that perspective, I'm glad they turned her down, but I also feel bad because Reyna's awesome. You know, she's selfless, she's powerful, she's cool, she deserves some luck in the love department, but she hasn't got any thus far. Is that to say that she won't by the end of the Trials of Apollo? I think she probably will, because we're talking Rick Riordan, and I like the relationships in the series, all the series, but Rick does have a knack of putting everybody in a relationship by the end. There are a couple people that this isn't the same case for, but most of them, for sure, nearly all of them end up being in a relationship by the end. And people talk about Reyna in a relationship like possibility so much, which raises the question of her sexuality. Now, some of you might be saying, Jake, what are you talking about? There is no question about her sexuality. She's a straight. She has shown no attraction for any females. Therefore, she is straight. And yes, I would agree with you. I'm actually that guy in many occasions. But, again, we're talking Rick Riordan. And one thing I've learned from several tough times is, if you're talking Rick Riordan, you gotta open your mind to the possibilities. If you guys know what that line's from, I love you. But, yeah, she has not shown no attraction for the females. But, is that to say that she won't end up being bi by the end? Absolutely not. She might be. She probably will be. People have pointed out to me when I've said this, well, she could be bi all along, and Rick is just hiding it, right? That is a possibility. What I think was more likely is that Rick has had no intention of making her bi, but probably will, because a lot of people really want him to, and a lot of people have really nagged on him about this. Because I do think Rick is prone to a bit of fan service. That is not to say that he won't rip open our guts and leave us on the ground to die slowly in torment, because he will do that. But I also do feel like he is prone to a bit of fan service. And this is like a big opportunity to kind of give another LGBT character and make a lot of fans happy at the same time. So I do think she probably will be bi by the end. Do I want that to happen? No. I think it'd be pretty dumb. It's like, we only got 2 more books in this Trials of Apollo series. People are trying to save the world. There's more important things than people's sexuality. So like, what's the point of going around like, because, you know, that would be a huge deal for a lot of people, making Reyna bi. But like, so what's the, like, you know, there's other stuff going on. Like, what's the point of delving into that? And it's not like there aren't any bi characters. You know, Apollo, Lester, is bi, you know, so he's like a main character now. And so if you're talking like checkpoints in the representation box list, that one is met. But I know a lot of people do, and I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm not saying like, wow, like you're so, you know, that's ridiculous or anything like that. I just don't want it to happen. But if you do, that's cool. You know, it's not a big deal. But I do think it probably will. But that also raises some more questions, which actually brings in spoilers. So if you haven't read The Burning Maze, I'm only going to talk about it for a couple seconds, but once I put this book down, we'll open up into non-spoilers again. But yeah, I'm getting ready to go into spoilers. So, if you read this, you know Piper is dumped Jason. And they're broken up, one, because she dumped him, and two, he died. But, so when I didn't mention this earlier, but I was thinking it, but I didn't get into it. But then it also was pointed out by Lamnata Worm, if I'm pronouncing your name, I'm really sorry, in my YouTube comment section, that she thinks, or, that Lamnata Worm thinks that Piper is probably bi, or questioning her sexuality, or something like that, which I do think is a super strong possibility. She's like 16, going through a lot of stuff. I think that's definitely a possibility of that happening. And when I was reading it, I was thinking, wada bang, her and Reyna, for sure. But then something was pointed out to me, also by Lamnata Worm, that would break that possibility. So apparently, Lamnata Worm pointed this out to me in my YouTube comment section, and then I went to you people. I went to the people of Quiz Up to ask you, is there a point that says Reyna is destined to not be with a demigod? And apparently there is. I didn't think there was, but I trust you guys. Many people have said it. We don't know the specific page number, so if one of you guys do know, I know it's in the Blood of Olympus somewhere. But there apparently, I don't even know who says it, but there apparently is a moment that says, no demigod shall heal your heart, which is like mind-blowing, right? Because that opens a lot of possibilities while shutting them down simultaneously. So if you're thinking mortals, and then you're thinking, okay, well, Reyna could be bi. If she's bi, that opens up people like Rachel. So I think it's a possibility if you know, if we're counting both of these factors in. And then also, are like descendants, I know a lot of the Roman campers are like descendants, like they're not direct demigods, but they're descendants of the gods. So does that count as a demigod or no? That's a big deal in that case too. But the biggest deal here, which was also pointed out to me, Lamnata Worm, and I also talked to you guys, some of you about, is if you're thinking, okay, so she's not going to be with any demigod, which making that point in itself is probably ideal, like pointing to she is going to be in a relationship. Because I feel if she wasn't going to be in a relationship, they wouldn't point out anything in the first place. But pointing out she's not going to be in a demigod says, okay, she's probably going to be with a mortal or a god. Okay, so if you think about it for a second, and this day in the Percy Jackson universe age, a god, a mortal. Who does that open up? Apollo, Lester, what the heck? They could be a relationship in the future. Yeah. Alright, sorry for this quick interruption. I just want to point out that this idea about Apollo being with Reyna, it was not my initial idea. This was pointed out to me by Hannah Joy. So I'm sorry, Hannah, I forgot to mention this in the video, but definitely she was like, you know, I'm worried that Rick's leaning to those two happening, which makes a lot of sense why I made a video on it. But yeah, huge shout outs to Hannah Joy. And also, the person that told me the specific line, no demigod shall heal your heart, that was Rosie Smith. So shout outs to Rosie Smith. And then of course, shout outs to Lamnata Worm for pointing out to me that Reyna wouldn't be, the possibility of Reyna being with a demigod isn't really there anyway. And also shout outs to you all on Quiz Up for like confirming all this. So y'all are awesome. That's crazy. That is crazy. But it is incredibly possible. And because we know Reyna is going to be somewhere in the next couple books. So here we are. We've got questions, a lot of questions about Reyna and relationships. We've got Lester here, who's prone to being, you know, through Apollo in mythology, likes a lot of ladies and dudes and all that. And we're reaching the end of a series. So we got two single people reaching the end of the series with an author who likes to put people in a relationship, and he's pointed out that she's not going to be with a demigod. I mean, I feel like the coincidences here are too strong. And you know, because a lot of good authors, which Rick is a good author, they'll plant these little seeds. They'll give you little details throughout, and you don't think they mean anything. Because they'll give you little details and they'll leave it alone. And you're like, okay, well that was that. You know, it's not really a big deal. But then wada bang, it turns out to mean something huge. I think this is definitely one of those instances. And do I want it to happen? No. I think that'd be really dumb. But it's possible. And I think it's pretty likely. As scary as that is to say, I'm not really sure if I don't even know what the name would be. like the ship name would be like, it couldn't be Lena because Leo, that's already been taken, right? But like Lestana, I don't know. I'll let you guys do the ship names. But also, would you guys want to see that? Like, would you like to see Lester and Reyna being in a relationship? I wouldn't, but you know, whatever. Who cares about? But I do think the possibility of that happening is very strong. I just feel like I just feel like Reyna's too good for Apollo. Like, I know Apollo's gone through a lot of character development, which is cool. It's good. He's not a bad character, but you know, just because he's still Apollo, like I'm not trying to like offend you Apollo fans, but he is still Apollo, and I just feel like Reyna's. I just feel like as a huge Reyna fan, I just feel like she deserves better than Apollo, and I feel like in reality she wouldn't want to go after a guy like Apollo. But it also, Lester is a different than the guy she's fallen for already. She's fallen for Jason Grace and Percy Jackson, and these guys are like the pinnacle of kick-A demigods. And Lester kind of is here like in a physical mode. He's not that strong. He has strengths. He has a lot of talents, but in the hero quality, nowhere near to Percy and Jason. So maybe this kind of like difference, maybe his kind of different ideology or whatever, maybe that's appealing to her. That will probably turn out to be the case. I don't want it to happen, but it's definitely possible. But what do I wish, just to close it off, what do I wish for Reyna's future in romance? Just let her stay single. You know? Just let her stay single. It's not a big deal. You know? Being single is not a bad thing. I know like a lot of times it feels like life and death, especially in high school, but as being a guy that's been through high school, been all through that, it's not a big deal at all. It really isn't. And she's only like 16 or 17. But I do have to confess this, just because, and I feel like this might lose me some subscribers. I do ship Ray Nico, which is Reyna and Nico. And I know, like whenever someone says this, you know, the So Angela fans will be like, hello, Nico is gay. Yes, I know he's gay. I'm not saying he's not gay. And I'm not saying, it's not like a homophobic thing. Because that's just, I feel like that's a lot of misconceptions for Reyna Nico shippers. It's not homophobia. It's not. And even in the case, that wouldn't make sense because Nico would still be bi. Nico had already confessed to liking Percy. So yeah, he's into dudes. But I just feel like he could have been into girls as well. He could have been bi. And that's not like heteronormity or anything. That's still, you know. But it was just, she spent so much time with him in Blood of Olympus, and I feel like they really made a good bond, and their characters really complemented each other. I just feel like they would have been a really good relationship. So that's why I shipped them. But I am a realistic man, I think, and I know that is never, ever going to happen. I know it's never going to happen. So in that case, yeah, let's just let her stay single. You know, there's not really anybody in the universe that I really am dying to see her in a relationship with. I don't really see a point to it happening. But will it happen? I think so, for sure. But it is what it is. Alright, that was my thoughts on Reyna. I'm sorry if it was kind of jumbled. There's a lot. Reyna's one of those characters where like there's so much stuff that could be going on in like her relationship future, or there's absolutely nothing. I'm hoping for the latter, but probably not going to be that way. But anyway, it was fun to talk about, fun to dive in. A lot of these thoughts were not, you know, something I came up with first. You guys on Quiz Up and then Lumnata Worm, you all really helped me out with this whole, you know, pile of thoughts. So thank you guys for that. And yeah, we're going to end it with a quote. Keep the tradition alive. And this one is from the dudes from Wonder Woman. May we get what we want. May we get what we need. But may we never get what we deserve. Peace.